Welcome to KocoSports Weekly Impact Wrestling Review. I am the huge one, Dave Coco from KocoSports.com or KocoSports.net. It takes you to the same place. It's where the world comes to kick ass, your home for combat sports, and above all, where it's okay to be a passionate fan. As always, we ask you win, loss, or tie. What did you think of this Impact Wrestling review? And to me, this seems to be the perfect show for win, loss, or tie, just because I think it's going to be all over the place. All right. Now we'll go through co-host as someone's knocking on my door. Like, yay. T-Sean and American Alucard will be joining us. Gentlemen, tell an internet entry where they can find you and, give out, information, because these guys bust their ass, work for free for KocoSports, so hopefully you guys could check out their material, and also tell me if you thought it was a win, loss, or tie.
Well, it's your man T-Sean, the one, Russell Talk Media, live in the building right now. You can also find me at T-Sean, the one, on Facebook. You can like the page, or T-Sean Jason on Facebook. American
Alucard on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Just type it into the search bar. And I will say this was a tie. A tie leaning towards a win, more in the win category. The only reason I put it as a tie is because that commercial where they spoiled the main event.
Well,
I'm back. Sorry about that, gentlemen. Nothing like, hey, let's start off a show. Brrr, real life. Hey, guys, what's going on? All right. I didn't mean to cut in and cut out like that. That was the most unprofessional thing I've ever done today. American Alucard, sorry to cut you off.
I don't think nobody would ever notice. I mean, because look, we're used to it. We was going to go ahead and continue the show with or without.
That's good. That's good. I like the fact that I'm like, welcome to my show. All right, guys, you handle it. You got it. You're good. You're good.
We're seasoned vets.
Well, that's good. That's good. So, just to recap, if you haven't got to it, what did you guys think? Win, loss, or tie? Because me, I give it a tie, and I could see a negative person really tear this apart, and I could also see a defender be like, no, it was great. So, T-Sean, what did you think? Win, loss, or tie?
I most definitely give it a win. Before, I mean, as far as just considering just the show and judging the rate based off that, it was a win. Clearly, it was a win. Now if you want to find something to nag about, yeah, you have those that want to be asked and just trying to find something. But other than that, it delivered. It gave you your storyline. It gave you the action.
The way you just described someone that would be negative, I feel like I should put that on my business card. If you want, you can be a negative asshole who finds something. I'm like, ooh, that sounds good for my business card.
but because the one thing about it, I say this, it delivered everything that you pretty much wanted. It gave you suspense, gave you humor, gave you drama. It gave you everything that you actually wanted in the actual show, and gave you wrestling and title defenses that actually led up to actual meaning. You saw the highs and lows, and then you saw somebody give it more of a realistic twist to it in Drew McIntyre, which we'll discuss later on in the show. But it gave you everything that you actually wanted, that you've been begging for from other shows. So there's really not much to complain about. But if you want to be, like I said, an ass about it, yeah, you can find some things.
All right, I'll be the ass. Like I said, I think it's like right down the middle. I think they did some great, amazing things, but I also did some like head scratchers. And we'll get in that when we break it down. What did you give it? Win, loss, or tie, American Alucard?
I'm going to say I gave it a tie only because of that commercial that aired in the middle where they said that Kurt Angle won the main event. It kind of spoiled it for not the internet fans. Nobody cares about you guys who read spoilers and are mad that you see it on television. Nobody cares about you guys. I'm talking about just the guys who don't go on the internet and look for reviews or spoilers. They just watch wrestling, and they were watching it. Okay, Kurt Angle versus Eric Young versus Byron. Okay, let me get some popcorn. Watch this. Oh, Kurt Angle just won.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. I run a daily podcast here about pro wrestling. I also run, I don't really run, but I'm a part of KocoSports, the blog, and I try to avoid spoilers. And the thing that really burns my ass, so to speak, is like when you go to the official Impact page or the official Impact social media, and there's WWE fanboys just giving away spoilers in those comments. I just think that's the ultimate dick move, because someone who's avoiding spoilers, since I believe all three of us avoid spoilers since we do reviews, for someone who avoids spoilers, and you're like, oh, what's going on the Impact Facebook page, and the comments are just poured in with results, I don't know, I just think that's like, as a fan, like, if you don't like TNA, don't ruin it for people that, go out of the way. Because, like, I do know a couple spoilers, including, tonight's. I did know a couple spoilers, but the spoilers found me. I didn't go out searching for the spoilers. And I think TNA needs to either go live, which is very expensive, or not go this far in the future. Like, I'm pretty sure they taped so far in the future that their teenage daughter will be graduating high school before the next live taping. I'm being a little sarcastic there, but I think that there'll always be TNA haters. There'll always be WWE fanboys that want to ruin the product for people like us. And I swear I didn't want to know spoilers. American Alucard can vouch for that. I just do not want spoilers.
But I will say this. I got to cut in on this one here. Now, we're living in a new day and age where it seems that spoilers are becoming an advantage. You say, what are you talking about, advantage? If you notice, you take it all the way back to the time of when Dixie Carter got put through the table. It was already preached and talked about before it happened. That was one of the highest rated shows because the spoilers dropped. It wasn't the fact that people knew what was going to happen. It was the fact that they wanted to see it. It was the fact that it was hyped about. So even when we talk about Kurt Angle winning the main event, but you notice their ratings were sustained. It went up because therefore, say for instance, you got people that fall asleep during the show. They might be like, well, I can't wait I'm trying to watch this TNA, but I'm dazing off. But when you hear a commercial, hold on, Kurt Angle won? Hell no. And the reason why I say this is because I got put in that predicament because I was kind of dazed and I was kind of comfortable. Then again, I said, hold on, Kurt Angle's going to win? All right, I got to see this. I got to see how did it happen. What happened? And
go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
And it drew me more into the show than what I thought I would. I probably would have dazed off. I probably would have dazed off and said, well, I'll watch it later. But when I heard that Kurt Angle won, I said, oh, look, I got to see this. And I wanted to stay there. So it seems like these fanboys may have etched onto a trend where it's actually an advantage now to where you want to see it yourself.
Yes and no, especially where it's an advantage because a lot of times I'll read SmackDown spoilers, especially this is before I did reviews. Before I did reviews, I'd read SmackDown spoilers because WWE doesn't put much effort into SmackDown. So I'd be like, oh, let me see the matches. All right, I'll want to see that. So it'll make me want to see it. So sometimes spoilers do help the fan, and sometimes Impact takes the spoilers and spins it. But overall, I just think if you know the outcome and you don't want to, I know what it is. I think spoilers should be an option for each fan. You shouldn't be giving spoilers out on TNA's Facebook page, and not the company, even though the company has been caught doing that before. But, if you want to avoid spoilers and you go to TNA's Facebook page or TNA's website or TNA social media, you should be able to still avoid them. You know what I mean? I think spoilers should be optional by the viewer. And it just seems like that for some reason, TNA has a rocky up and down roller coaster past that there's some fans that absolutely hate it and want to ruin it for everybody. So I don't know if that had a factor in it. But some things did have a factor. So let's break it down. This is one thing that kind of had a factor, and I was one of those it was the appearance of Drew Galloway. I liked everything about it. I liked the promo. I liked that it's his hometown. I enjoy it. He's talking about how he's for pure pro wrestling, and they did a great thing on social media. I don't know how successful it was, but they market the hell out of it because I normally don't pay attention to hashtags. And I was like, what's hashtag stand up? Oh, okay. You know, I even asked the American Alucard. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. He's answering questions, getting back to it because, you know, Dixie tried that, and it backfired bad. It backfired really bad, and she had to take it personal. I just can't picture her not, but if maybe she's got thick skin, hopefully, because they were saying the meanest shit in the world there. But this time I think it was a little more successful. Drew Galloway did it. I like what he was talking about, professional wrestling. I liked the promo. I liked everything. But it just seems weird that the four of the best in-ring guys are the ones you're saying you really like professional wrestling. It was kind of like, yeah, I know you're trying to hint that you're saying this to Vince McMahon. You're trying to hint that you're saying this to sports entertainment enthusiasts and not pro wrestling enthusiasts. I understand the storyline. But at the same time, that's like telling Michael Jordan, it's like telling the original Dream Team you don't love basketball. It's just like, it's not working for me. And I am a huge Beatdown Clan fan, and I love all the wrestlers in the BDC, and I despise the booking of the BDC. I think the BDC, since Impact has gone to American Destination or Destination America, I think the BDC is the worst book storyline they got going. And then that leads to a match where nothing makes sense storyline-wise. So Drew Galloway comes out, he cuts a promo where he's like, I'm about wrestling. And we're like, fuck yeah, but you're telling it to wrestlers. And then you get in there and you're like, all right, I'll wrestle you, but all your friends leave. Why? They're heels. Why would they agree with that? And
I think what you're saying with the Drew Galloway part is that, to catch everybody up the part on this one, is that Drew Galloway, he's really a little too late, because BDC is not in power, or when it was, you know, the most valuable team, or whatever, money, power, respect. That was when they was in power. You know, Drew Galloway character would have been more meaningful then, because they were in power and they were dictating everything. But now BDC is not really dictating everything, so. You know.
Yeah, that's a great point as far as the kayfabe world goes. It was a bit awkward, and it's a great speech, but at the same time, you're giving it to someone that disagrees. And then, of course, hey, I want to take you one-on-one, BDC, leave. Why would they agree to that? Like, why? They're heels. Well, you know what? This is honorable. And then I think Kenny King is one of the most talented wrestlers that TNA has on the roster, and even Glass Joe from Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is like, hey, can we give the kid a push? It's starting to get ridiculous. It's just... maybe why I give it a tie is because I thought this promo was a bit off because who he was talking to. And also, it's just like, come on. No wonder why fucking Samoa Joe left. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Help me. Overall, still a good match, but I didn't read spoilers. I did not read spoilers. I did not know spoilers for this match. No one leaked the spoilers to me. Thank you, Internet. With that said, did anyone really think Kenny King even stood a fucking chance? Like, it might as well have been, hey, it's a free win. It just sucks what they did to BDC and Kenny King. And maybe I'm too much of a fanboy for those wrestlers. I'll take that poison if it's true. But at the same time, good match, but you didn't have to read spoilers. And storyline-wise, it's a good promo, good atmosphere, just really? You know what I mean? It's, I don't know, it's like being yelled at by your friend for like an hour, but your friend agrees with you. You're like, I think The Avengers were a good movie. And you're like, yeah, I agree with you. It was awesome. Yeah, I know. Yeah! You know what I mean? Like, it was that awkward. Like, you don't think Samoa Joe, MVP, Kenny King, and the rest agree with you? So, overall there. American Alucard, what were your thoughts of the opening promo with Drew Galloway and the match?
I like what Drew Galloway was saying. And I think we already said this. Drew Galloway, he's more relevant now in TNA than he ever was in WWE. They're giving him I want to say a bigger platform because WWE is global and stuff. It make him feel like a bigger star. his love of pro wrestling. I think that's going to catch on with a lot of fans who are maybe sick of sports entertainment and just want to get back to the indie style or the strong style of pro wrestling. If TNA could bring in that a New Japan type of style or MMA type of style, that might bring a lot of fans. The match, I feel bad for Kenny King. I did a review and I said, I know somewhere, Dave, you were laughing when Kenny King said Kenny King is a one-man army. I don't know what they could do with his character now, because I like Kenny King, but I can't take him seriously when he starts talking tough. Like, I don't know if he needs to get in a tag team with another BDC member, just something. But the match, it was decent. I like how Drew Galloway transitioned the the backward pin, the back slide into the future shot DDT. That was pretty cool. So overall, pretty good.
And I think what they can do is, if they're going to make him lose all the time, and the BDC obviously is not that important. Just by booking, you could tell it's not important. And the thing is, it makes me sad, because I could have really got behind that group. But they're just not important. They've lost to almost everybody. It's kind of like, in New Jersey, we had people that could talk shit, but get knocked the fuck out really quick. That's what the BDC is. It's like, oh, they're good talkers, but when someone throws a fist, they're fucking night-night. And I guess to save Kenny King, keep him as Glass Joe, but then eventually make him a face, because Kenny King actually wrestled in Florida often, and there's one thing that everyone agrees with when people meet Kenny King. He's the nicest fucking human being you'll ever meet. So I think maybe have him keep being the Glass, and this is just me fantasy booking here, maybe have him keep being the Glass Joe of the BDC, and then do a more serious version of Spud versus EC3 with Kenny King versus MVP. Not exactly the same, but a more serious version of that. So it should be interesting. And next, we have a segment here. We bust WWE's balls, and we have to be fair and bust Impact's balls when this happens. This was a Twitter segment. All three men could have got on Twitter, they could have flashed it up on the screen, and we would have saved 10 minutes. Like, three guys came out and be like, we don't like each other, and we're gonna fight. Alright. I think we already knew that. That was established. Is there anything you want to add besides my negativity towards the Kurt Angle, Bobby Roode, and EY promo in the ring?
Go ahead, America.
Well, I was gonna say, I like how Kurt Angle he came out when Bobby Roode said nobody's gonna stand in my way. Music hits. I'm going to get in your way, and if you got a problem with that, we can fight right now. I guess that was just funny to me. I'm going to get in your fucking way, but T-Sean.
It's very much. Well, it's not very much that I can say about the promo. It was just pretty much. I just felt like it was just preaching for the match later on in the night. That's pretty much all I got out of it. Wasn't very much to go off of, as far as to judge it, but just, I was like, okay, you're just reminding us that you guys are gonna fight tonight. Gotcha. Cool.
Well, and JR said this before on his podcast, and I get a lot of heat because I'm not a JR fan, but JR said this on his podcast, and I respect this, is a lot of times these wrestlers are not good actors, but you have some of the best video guys in the business, as Lucha Underground shows, you know what I mean? I think this would have been better as a video package. Just rehash what happened, cut it up, have them say one line. I think that would have been better. Because I know a lot of times the live promos are also for the live audience, but they were going to see that match anyway. It's not like it's a match next week or a match at pay-per-view. They were going to see that match in the same, hour to 2 hour span. So, I think, like JR says, cut some of the live promos and just have it chopped up as video segments, something like Lucha Underground is very successful at doing.
So basically you're saying it should have been like a backstage area scene where they're sitting down, kind of like the WWE promo where they had Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar sitting down. They should have had all three guys sitting down and let it get a little heated in the conversation.
Maybe that, but I'm thinking
I mean, I'm just saying
that's
that would have sold me more. It would have sold me a little bit
yeah.
more. Like, okay, yeah, all right, I'm getting it. And
I mean
then
that. Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying, and then giving leeway to going to the match later on in the night. Yeah, I would have liked that much better. Like earlier when they do that earlier this day, Jeremy Borash sat down with Kurt Angle, blah 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 blah, blah, and they got a little heated, and they got like that should have been it because EY is crazy. EY is good at his acting and him acting wacky and loony. So I can imagine him sitting down with the two of them and saying some stupid stuff and then getting into it and pissing people off, and they had to cut the interview. That should have been it. It would have got you ready for the match even more because like, oh, crazy.
Yeah, and that's a great way to go. I didn't really think about that. I was thinking more of actual video package, but yeah, that could have been good too. Because here's the thing. If they fuck up, which, they're not actors, you can be like, oh, just reshoot it. But when you're in that ring, there's no reshooting. There's maybe editing parts out. You know what I mean? Oh, that's not true. TNA has reshot promos before, and dude, nothing looks more unprofessional. It's almost like starting a podcast and leaving. Nothing looks more unprofessional than retaping a segment. But they have done it, especially I know I've been at FCW and TNA when they've done that. And you're just like, are you fucking for real? I know kayfabe is dead, but you can protect the business a little bit. Next, you had Bram versus Matt Hardy. There was also a segment with James Storm. I think James Storm and Bram would be a great tag team. I really do. I hope Bram goes that way. The Bram-Matt Hardy match was really short. Bram does get the victory, but the big thing is that Magnus comes back and confronts him. And it's great to see Magnus, because we haven't seen him in 2 years. Don't you dare talk about 2014 Magnus there, American Alucard. We haven't seen the real Magnus in 2 years. I'm hoping this is the real Magnus. And I'm starting to like the Bram, Hardy, James Storm, and also Magnus. I'm starting to enjoy this storyline a little more and more. And considering how much I hated these people, granted, Magnus in 2014 didn't exist, but how much I hated these people. I love 2013 Magnus, but 2014 Magnus doesn't exist. How much I hated these people. The writing and the storytelling, to me, is like, all right, I went from hating this to, let's see where this goes. And as a company, I think that's a good step in the right direction. For me going, fuck Bram, fuck 2014 Magnus, which doesn't exist, fuck Matt Hardy, fuck the Revolution, to me going, this is interesting. Where's this going? I think the fact that my attitude has changed that much with these athletes and storylines, that I feel, if you're going to tear TNA down, you also have to give them praise. And I went from, what the fuck is Bram? Go fuck yourself, to, what is Bram going to do? But for the record, 2014 Magnus does not exist, so this is a huge return. It's been 2 years.
That's what happened. They've grown on you as characters.
Yeah, that's a possibility. But also, if they've grown on me in characters, you have to give creative credit. Because, I remember coming on Bram, like, what's the fucking point? And everyone's like, the Bram is awesome! Like, the masses were like, the Bram is awesome! I'm like, I don't fucking see it. I don't see it. But I'm starting to see it. And I think him and James Storm would be a great tag team. I really do. Nothing against Abyss, but if you've been a long-time TNA fan, you have to admit, Abyss isn't the man he used to be. For those that just started watching TNA and don't know Abyss in his prime, I believe Abyss in his prime was one of the best big men in the business. Like, if at one point in Abyss's TNA career, you could have said, Abyss is the best big man in the business, and that'd be a fair, accurate statement. Abyss isn't what he used to be.
I gotta totally disagree. I disagree to the point where I think that Abyss, see, TNA's figured out what they want with it, what they want out of Abyss. Abyss plays his role as, like, he can step up to the plate whenever they need him to step up. He can switch roles. He can turn to whole another character. He is what every company really wants out of a wrestler. He's that go-to guy. If they want him to become a face, he can turn to a face. If they want him to be a enforcer, he can become an enforcer. If they want him to be a professor, He can become a professor. If you look at it, his wrestling style never really changed up. He's consistent. He's one of the most consistent guys. So he can step in and conform to any position that they need. But, you know, it's just that the position that they need him right now for is just to be this guy right now. You know, until they need him to be this guy, he'll be that guy. So it's
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I just disagree. I disagree. Abyss was when you knew very little about him, especially during because it started off as a weekly pay-per-view, then it was an online pay-per-view, and then there was a short where they were like on local Fox Sports affiliates, like smaller Fox Sports affiliates.
30 minutes.
Yeah. When they were on Fox Sports affiliates online and towards the end of the weekly pay-per-views, and even a little bit before Hogan came, like that era, like they just got on Spike, no Hogan, to the end of the weekly pay-per-views. He was a monster. He was a believable monster. He was an amazing big man wrestler. Then Hogan came along. He gave him a Hall of Fame ring, and I was just like, his character died.
Yeah, he humanized him. He kind of dehumanized him and turned him into a regular guy. I now get what you're saying. I thought you were saying as far as his, him just being worthless in his style of wrestling. I'm like, no, he's the same.
He's definitely lost a step. He's definitely lost a step. I mean, the Black Hole Slam, that motherfucker looked like Flash back in the day. Like, he'd be like, "Wah!" I'm like, holy shit, did you fucking see that giant? Now it's kind of like, no.
I've been watching some of his recent matches, to like even the ones on Explosion, to his matches to the past. I mean, his style is still kind of consistent. It's not as tarnished as you can watch other wrestlers and be like, oh my gosh, what the hell is he doing? It's not like watching Psycho Sid in the ring. I put it like that. So,
all right. When we have three hosts on, we have two hosts disagree. The third host is Judge American Alucard. This is twice you've been a judge. Is Abyss? How can we word this that it's fair? Has Abyss lost a step in the ring, and is his character diminished? Yes, no. What does the judge say?
Hold up. On the last part, I don't really disagree with you on that one, because what I'm saying is that they're using them for whatever they need them for. TNA. TNA doesn't need him to be that master monster heel right now. They're trying to put somebody else in there.
But the problem with your theory, before we get to the judge, the problem with your theory is, I believe it's hard to be a big man monster. And I think if you're over as a big man monster and then you play other characters, you will never have the same success. Now, he could prove me wrong, knock on wood, but you never have the same success as once, like Kane. Kane at one time, wow, this is twice Kane has come up in our podcast. Kane at one time was believed to be a monster. That motherfucker puts the mask back on. He's just fucking Glenn the Libertarian wearing a fucking mask. You know what I mean? Like, no one.
What about Joseph Parks? Joseph Parks was kind of over.
Yeah, but it was more of a comedy gimmick. All right, so Judge, who are you going with? T-Sean or me? Has Abyss lost a step, and is some of the monster magic completely gone?
I see both sides. I see what you're saying, Dave. You're thinking about Abyss when he was back in the day. He was like slamming people through thumbtacks and chairs and having matches with Sabu, and you kind of see that, like with the Brown matches and the hardcore matches, but they aren't as violent as they used to be. So is that what you're saying? Like he lost a step in that way?
Well, I also think he's slower. I don't think he's as athletic. And then, granted, age catches up with all. I'm a fat fucking nerd who fucking ran downstairs to tell my son it's dinner time, and I fucking almost had a heart attack. So, I mean, Father Time does catch with us all. I'm just saying he's not the man he used to be.
I'm just saying,
storyline-wise and in-ring-wise.
I'm just saying, watch the Jeff Hardy versus Abyss match. Maybe you won't be saying he's slower. Because that doesn't look like a guy that lost a step. I'm just going to keep it real with you. And just looking at the clips that I'm looking at right now, it don't look like he lost a step.
All right. Judge, are you going to make a jury? Are you going to make a decision, or are we going to Internet Infantry on this one?
Go to the Internet Infantry, because I kind of feel like it's just TNA not being as hardcore. It's like they exploded Abyss into the scene as, hardcore monster. We got cage matches, ladder matches, thumbtack matches, and now they're kind of slow him down into more of a let's learn about Abyss. What drives Abyss?
All right. So internet inventory, we are stumped. We are asking you, just in the comments. I guess we have to keep it simple because, you could give a detailed answer, but we just want to keep the answer simple. So you could give a detailed answer after the simple answer. Has Abyss lost a step? And you could talk about in-ring and in character. Yes or no. Has Abyss lost a step? And we'll try to get to live comments in a bit.
Indeed.
All right. Backstage, Rockstar Spud tells Mr. Anderson that his feud with EC Carter III ends tonight. Boom, boom, boom. Ba-da-da. They cut a promo, and I don't know. I have mixed feelings because I absolutely love EC3 and Spud. I think EC3 and Spud is just comedy wrestling, comedy characters done right. I think Spud, is a real hometown hero. I think EC3, I believe, and I still believe this, and I'm going to bang this drum, I think EC3 should be the main heel in the company. And I think maybe if he wasn't injured, that would be the case. I don't know. I'm not privy to that backstage information. But, if wrestlers were stock, I would put stock in EC3 as being the main heel one day. I thought the promo was pretty decent, a bit dragged out. Like Spud was saying shit that he could have summed up. Now, granted, I'm a podcaster, so this is kind of hypocritical, but he could have tightened up his response. But what stole the promo was the camera shot with Spud in the background, EC3 walking towards it. Great camera shot, by the way. I'm a huge mark for good camera work. And he goes, but in real life, the bad guys win, or something along those lines. I thought that was a tight line. And they're going to have a hair versus hair match. I enjoy this, everything about this. The only problem I have with it is it's just the hair versus hair thing kind of takes away from it. It's like, this guy treated you like shit. This guy defined, because, if you're Spud, this guy treated you like shit and took away your manhood, and you're going to get it back. And then you have EC3 where he's like, I'm fucking rich, everything's handed to me, I'm the chosen one, I'm undefeated, I have this streak. Someone defied you. Someone went against you. And if anyone knows anything about the ultra-powerful, that's what they fear most. So it's like, you have a great storyline, you have a great feud, and then you're like, but you're obsessing over fucking hair? You know what I mean? I just think the hair versus hair thing is like, no, you have a good story. Drop that. You know what I mean? What did you guys think? We'll start with T-Shawn. T-Shawn, what did you think of the segment?
Well, if we're following the storyline, apparently it was EC3, of course, which came on with the whole scalping thing and embarrassing people by cutting their hair. So this is Rockstar's way of basically rubbing his EC3's fetish in his face. So that's pretty much the reason why he incorporates that, is just rubbing. Okay, since you like doing that so much, let's incorporate taking your hair, since you think it's so funny to cut people. So I get why they're still playing up, because at first I was like, do we still gotta do that? But then again, he never really completely humiliated EC3 by getting to his hair and doing on him as he's done on the others. They got Tyrus, but they haven't got EC3. So still, it's a lot of fans out there that want to see it. They were like, yeah, get EC3. So apparently, I believe it is a good thing to do. It's a good thing to go ahead and EC3 loses the match from the cut his hair, because it'll give him that Kurt Angle run where he'll be more of a heel, and he'll look like more of a heel, and he'll have more of a chip on his shoulder coming back as a heel from a loss from EC3. EC3 from Rockstar Spud, a humiliating loss against the Rockstar Spud. So, but other than that, the promo to me, it delivered it. It didn't need to do very much for me. I was about to say something negative about Spud, but then again, it wasn't really nothing negative. It was a promo, all I wanted to do was to get to the point far as their matchup, because finally I wanted to go ahead and get this look, because I really don't like the matchup between EC3 and Spud. I'm like, well, okay, it's pointless. But then again, from seeing how entertaining Spud can be, now I'm kind of intrigued to watch the match, because I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's going to be some comedy in it. Apparently now we got their hair in the situation, because apparently we're going to see EC3 get his head shaved bald. Okay, Now he's gonna come back as a whole new, more devious villain, which would which would make his character much more in depth. So I'm all for the match now. I was against it at first. I was talking to American before, but I was saying, man, I don't want to see these two fight each other. EC3 will demolish Spud, but then again, now there's some comedy to it, and there's some humiliation to go around, and it'll better EC3's character.
Well, first off, I want you guys to know, like, when EC3 and Spud first broke up, my audience and co-hosts make fun of me because I was talking about them like they were a gay couple. I was like, no, they work so good together. I thought EC3 and Spud were comedy gold, and when they broke up, a part of me died.
I thought they were going to be tag team champions before they broke up.
I honestly think if you're into comedy, if you're into entertainment, I don't think Spud and EC3 being together, I think they were just hitting home runs. Dude, they fucking made me laugh so much. All right, let's go to a couple live comments. Oh, do you have anything to add, American Alucard, before we go to live comments?
Just forget about America. Just forget about it.
I kind of think like this feud is trying to make Spud turn into more of a serious character. And maybe, I guess maybe if they replace the hair with the briefcase, and there is another thing that's on the line, EC3's undefeated streak. Like, what bigger embarrassment would it be for, EC3 to get his first defeat than the guy that was, his lackey for the better turn,
And
Yeah.
I have to say this real quick. And you got to look at it like this, Coco. You got to check this out. Now, a devastating breakup makes for an awesome, impactful makeup. Just saying. Think about it. Think about it. 2016, EC3 turns his face. And Rock
No. If EC3 turns face, I will fucking cry. And I think the fact that they did this storyline in Europe and the UK tour is genius, because I don't know if Spud could pull this off in America, but I could be wrong. All right, let's go to some live comments.
Well, real quick, EC3 could turn face. Dixie Carter could return. Him not agree with his aunt.
Mm-hmm.
All right, listen, I was broken up when Spud and EC3 broke up. Like, I was shattered. I don't know if I could take any faced EC3. Bullet Club Biggs is watching us on Google Plus, and man, I've been fucking up a lot today, gentlemen. People are mentioning that we got the date wrong in the title. I'll definitely fix that in post. I can't edit it now, so I apologize that I'm stupid. And the internet,
that Far East weed.
yeah. And the KocoSports.net internet intranet. Oh, a TNA review. Does Abyss still have Hulk Hogan's magic ring? And that's from @KevEnoch. That magic ring thing, dude. Man, Hogan. LK Wrestling Reviews on Twitter. You can tweet us at KocoSports. He retweeted us. So much love. On Facebook, Andy Paps, high member of the Internet Infantry, says, I don't think Abyss lost a step. Oh, T-Shawn, you're winning over the Internet Infantry. I think he just slowed down his style, maybe because of age. When I see Abyss, I still see the monster there. I see him on the Revolution being TNA's top heel faction. I think they win it by default just because of the bad booking of the Beatdown Clan. I think like the Revolution's like, we're just gonna sit back and the BDC is just gonna destroy themselves. I just saw EC3 wrestle live at Five Barrows Wrestling, and he's the best thing in TNA since AJ Styles. And dude, he's so good at being a heel. Even in Japan, like, it's so funny because I don't know if it came across the pay-per-view, but in Japan, he came out first, which was a bad mistake because his opponent is so beloved. So if they sent out his opponent, he probably would have got a better heel reaction. But he goes out there and he's cutting this promo of like just how bad Japan is, how he's the greatest, how he's gonna beat our heroes. And it gets silent for like 2 seconds, and then it starts a chant of "We still love you." And he's just like, I don't know if you can hear it on the pay-per-view, but then he goes, "I'm over in Japan," like, or I'm so huge in Japan. EC3 is the greatest thing that happened since sliced bread. That's Andy Paps. I love EC3, but if he goes face, I don't know if I'm ready for it. But then again, in TNA's defense, I said I wasn't ready for Eric Young being a heel. And the first time he failed miserably, but this run, I think Eric Young's holding his own as a heel.
See, now, when I say the EC3 one day a face turn, see, it had to be somebody to take his spot far as evil heel, like somebody, a new person. Say, for instance, Seth Rollins was to get fired from WWE and now make an appearance in TNA. And he's in Dixie or somehow some kind of storyline. But anyway, I'm putting up a picture of a new heel, you know. Now, EC3 is going to have his hardship. He's going to fall. And when he falls, you know, he's going to need a friend to pick him up. Say, for instance, they come around the next one trip there in UK again, and Rockstar Spud comes to his aid and helps him out. You know, I can see EC3 making a turn for a face run fighting against his own family, which we've seen with the McMahons as well. So I can see that happening, and it'd be very believable. I mean, I believe he'll be a viable face as he is a viable heel. You know, he's outstanding. If not, in my opinion, he's the top heel in the wrestling business right now that's on broadcast TV. In my opinion, you know, I don't think there's nobody I know that really gets pops like he does. You know, get heel pops like he does, besides John Cena.
well, yeah, but at least he's getting the pop he's supposed to get.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. If he turns face, I'll be heartbroken. Like I said, I don't read spoilers. I'm going to try. We only got about 30 more minutes, gentlemen, just because real life is going to get in the way. So I didn't expect so many comments. I appreciate it. If we don't get to all of them, please don't be insulted. Me, American Alucard, and T-Shine, if you want, we'll try to answer them also and down below. But I'm going to get a couple, and then I'm going to finish the review, and then we'll try to get some more later. LK Wrestling Reviews, who was on the show, the Fave 5 last night with American Alucard and I, says, loss, no gain. Lennox Wooderson says, what do you think of Impact's ratings falling to 0.2 and 0.3, and sites no longer posting the ratings and now posting how many viewers? I just think it's the sites being nice and covering up how bad the ratings are. I don't know. I want the ratings to be good so that TNA could stay in business, but at the same time, I don't really care about ratings as a fan. You know what I mean? Like, if the ratings are so low they cancel the show, then I care. Or if I hated the product, if I hated the product like WWE, I'd root for ratings to go good. Even though I gave this Impact a tie, I think American Destination, since going there, they've been doing a pretty damn good job. You know, and the part that sucks is TNA has had a roller coaster up and down. And with that said, is that a lot of people, when they've watched it down, just think it's always been down. But they come back every now and then.
T-Sean, go about what you were about to say about the ratings or whatever.
I was about to say, to the fans out there that like to jump on bandwagons of ratings and so forth. Now, there's not a final listing of the majority of these ratings. A lot of them are still speculations. And I'm going to say this here. The ones that like to talk about ratings or whatnot like that. Now, the only thing you need to be concerned with is the fact that are they the top rated show on that network? That's what you need to be worried about.
Yes and no, because they were top rated on Spike. It's a business, so like if you're top rated but it costs too much and they can lose a little bit of ratings and have cop replays, then no. Being number one on the station doesn't matter. The station being happy matters. Because you could be number one ratings-wise. This happens in radio a lot. This happened with Bubba the Love Sponge. It happened with TNA on Impact.
What I'm saying, and when we talk about Spike, see, it was both sides that did not want to continue, because Spike wanted the new offer. The deal was not very lucrative like one would want. So therefore, it was TNA. It wasn't Spike say, "Oh, we don't want to do with you guys now." It was both sides. Okay, well, look.
That's just a spin. And the reason I say it's just a spin, I love TNA and all that, but the television deal matters everything. You know, they have a monopoly. They spun that to make it sound good, but trust me, they were shitting their pants. Clover Cold 89 says, I thought it was a good show. Nice build-up for the Spud EC3 and Bram Magnus matches. Wolves winning the tag titles was cool and a good main event. Has TNA lost its buzz, and this is from Lennox Wooderson, has TNA lost its buzz to better wrestling promotions like ROH, NXT, Lucha, and New Japan? Will TNA bounce back and regain the number 2 spot, or have they been, I guess, that surpassed? I'm guessing. I apologize, I can't read that last word. I still think TNA is number 2, especially international. In UK, they dominate in ratings. In Japan, they do good in ratings, and in India, they just signed a huge deal. So I think they're still number 2. I mean, maybe New Japan, because New Japan makes profit, and that's a huge word. But I don't know. I don't know. I think TNA's biggest problem is, and it sounds crazy because usually in business it's a benefit.
Are they really still asking that question?
Yeah. What's that?
I mean, American, hold me back for a second. Are people still asking?
No, go ahead, go full force at it, man. You got to.
Are they really still asking this freaking question? Who's number 2? Come on, okay. Who's on a nat? You know what? I think I'm gonna probably back out because there's no point even asking that question. If you have to ask, is TNA number 2? Damn right, then. If you gotta ask that question, okay. Ring of Honor, are we really going to put Ring of Honor in number 2 right now? The only reason why anybody in their right freaking mind will put Ring of Honor number 2, the only reason why they put Ring of Honor or Lucha Underground or any other telescopic or small-ass other brand is because, therefore, they feel like TNA is a threat towards a number 2 spot. It's the only one that's a sneeze away. The safe is that they get another sponsor and endorsement that's major big, and they get another explosion. When they get another star like that, they can push up to where they need to be pushed up to that compatible spot with WWE. That's the only reason why people hate on TNA, because they're too close. Whenever something gets close to your darling, you want to hurt it. You don't like it. You want to get back. Oh, you're gonna mess up my precious little darling. And everybody's precious darling is WWE. I'm a big fan of WWE, but at the same time, I'm a realist. I keep it real on both sides. And a lot of people fear TNA because they're too close. They're too close. Ring of Honor is light years away from WWE. TNA, in my opinion, is like 10 to 5 years from being anywhere with WWE. They're treading more closer to WWE than any other company. So of course they're going to be hated on. So when people ask stupid ass shit like, are they number 2? Then if you got to ask that question, then yes, they are number 2. You just acknowledge that they're number 2. Thank you.
Well, all right, let's break this down a little more. I'm going to be on the side of, I think number 1 is such a huge gap. I do. I don't think TNA is that close. I think WWE, they're on the right path of destroying themselves, but they have to stay on that path. It's hard to become number 1 when it's almost a monopoly. As far as number 2 goes, it depends what you're judging on. Now, let's compare it to the companies he listed. NXT is tough because it's only on the network and it's owned by WWE and at any time. So NXT is a bit tough as far as number 2 goes. ROH, I say no. And the reason I say no is because they do have a television company that owns them, but it's a very cheap company and they don't want to put money into ROH. And there are internet rumors that Vince wants to buy ROH, but I don't know how much truth there is to those internet rumors. But ROH, they are run very cheap, and it depends if you consider the word profit to be a runner in. Where TNA has better television deals worldwide, and TNA also has a network that wants to see it succeed. Where ROH basically asked for more money to try to, be the clear number 2, and they're just like, yeah, we're not that type of company. Sinclair Broadcasting is a very poor company, and I think the fact that TNA is with Destination America and they want to see it succeed, where ROH is on a channel that's like, what? You want more money? We were thinking about throwing dirt into cameras to save money. I'm being a little sarcastic, but Sinclair Broadcasting is horrible. Lucha Underground has the support just like it. Just like TNA, and it's a smaller channel. I think Lucha Underground has a better chance of being number 2, but I don't know what the ratings are. I would find that to be interesting. I think Lucha... But here's the thing. Lucha is just a television show, and I don't mean that as an insult, but TNA, they have products. TNA has house shows. Now, some of those house shows are utter disasters, but TNA... is a wrestling company, where Lucha Underground is an amazing wrestling TV show. So I think we'll see. We'll see when the merchandise comes out. We'll see when the ratings come out. But I think Lucha Underground has a legit shot just because El Rey's behind them. And New Japan, this is tough because a lot of Americans will be like, well, they don't speak fucking English. Fuck them. You know what I mean? And there's a whole world out there. You know, like, where people really shit on Impact, you have to also give them credit in India. You have to give credit in Japan. You got to give credit in England. You know, WWE worldwide. They're #1 in ratings, except England. I think India, they have a battle. England and in England, TNA gets better ratings. India, I think it's a battle for first. And in Japan, WWE is just dominated by the pro wrestling companies. You know what I'm saying? Just because they love it. And I'm not sure about Mexico, but I think the Mexican audience really loves WWE. So you have to go worldwide. Now, New Japan, in ring-wise, I think is better. Booking-wise, I would say up to a year ago. If anyone's watching the New Japan Cup and you look past the great wrestling, that's some horrible fucking booking. You're just like, oh, okay. And like, I knew New Japan Cup was going to be a bunch of upsets. I didn't know it was just going to fucking be randomized fucking... Yeah, so... a lot of people defend New Japan's booking, like, oh, give it time, give it time. But when you say give it time for 6 months to a year, you're starting to sound like WWE fanboys. You know what I mean? You can't be like, oh, the booking's been bad, but give it time. 12 years from now, they'll put on one good show. I think in ring-wise, but also profit. Do we count profit? Because New Japan is definitely #2. And they're on Access with American television, but I think the ratings are kind of low, but Access is still happy with them. So, yeah, I think there's more of a battle for #2 than T-Sean thinks there is. But at the same time, I don't think TNA is as much damage control because they have a television network behind them. Now, my attitude changes if they drop them. Like, if the network says, no, we're done, we're not supporting you, and networks have done this before, this is what killed WCW, then I'm like, oh, yeah, it's done.
Let me explain it. Let me get this real clear across so people can understand exactly where I'm coming from when I make such madness comments like that. When I say this is because the reason why they're not that far as you know, internet marks may think is because of their four sponsors. Now, one thing that makes WWE so big and so untouchable is their sponsors. Let's not get it twisted. You know, now if these sponsors were to so happen to leave WWE, they'd be very vulnerable. They have to run off their own feud, and that's very dangerous. It's like emergency backup feud. You have to run off that now. Now, if TNA gets say for instance, because you got Stacker, I think they still got Stacker. I don't think they have Direct no more. You know, when they start getting a lot of those sponsors, why they was able to afford certain people and bring in certain things. When sponsors start taking those to your product and start wanting your product to represent them, that's when more money starts coming in. That's when more TV deals. Now, let's not people talk about WCW. They were never beat. They got sold off by Ted Turner. WWE never. It wasn't a win for WWE. They were saved by Ted Turner.
Well, AOL cared about their reputation. Ted Turner sold his company. AOL came in and they worried about their reputation, and that's what killed WCW. And here's the thing, AOL, that was a good call because your reputation is wow. When people think AOL, they go, that's a classy organization. All right, T-Sean, I love you, and we can definitely continue this debate later. I just got 4 minutes. All right, so let's rock a couple more matches, and then go. They had a knockout championship match. You had Awesome Kong versus Taryn Terrell. I was I'm a huge Awesome Kong fan. I fall in love with Taryn Terrell since she came to TNA. She's one of those athletes that benefited so much from coming to TNA. I enjoyed Awesome Kong versus Taryn Terrell. I was a little heartbroken that it ended in a DQ, but I was also happy that Gail Kim came out. And they restarted that feud. Because one time, Gail Kim and Awesome Kong were the highest rated main event ever. I don't know if those stats still hold up, but at one time that was the case. I was a bit heartbroken that it was a DQ, but it was a short heartbroken because the next 2 matches made up for it. We'll go with American Alucard this time. American Alucard, what do you think of the women's match?
Um, it was solid. It told a pretty good story. Terrence Terrell trying to overcome Awesome Kong and Awesome Kong's rage getting the best of her, and then you had Gail Kim coming out. So it's going to transition into a three-way. Pretty much to gives Terrence Terrell, that's another signature win. Maybe they may need to turn Terrence Terrell heel because right now she's wrestling good matches, but as far as a character, it's kind of a blank slate.
Yeah, her character is basically a beautiful woman that can do great matches, and I don't know if that's great for now, but can that last the test of time? Tishan, if you could, what were your thoughts on the women's match?
Oh, well, it was just awkward seeing that, Gail Kim saves the match after Gail Kim tried to kill her, Terrence Terrell, a couple of matches back. That was kind
that's
of
a great point. That is a good point.
But, I mean, other than that, it ended the way it was supposed to end because we need to keep it going, and hopefully Terrence will turn heel, Havoc will be a partner or something like that. As long as it leads somewhere, it's great. Good match, though.
All right, and to me, I thought this was match of the night. Granted, I'm a little bit of a fanboying here, so you have to admit I'm a huge fan of the Wolves from Ring of Honor and Noah. I was super happy they won, and none of that, but for a guy who hates Matt Hardy or used to hate Matt Hardy, I'm starting to love that motherfucker more and more. But yeah, I'm just happy the Wolves won. I'm happy the tag belts get off the Revolution, just because. I know I might be, Tisha might get mad at me, but I just don't think Abyss is the right tag team partner. I think, you replace him with Bram, that's a better tag team partner for James Storm. And how great is James Storm just in general at being a tag team / mouthpiece? I don't know. I for some reason, me personally, I don't give James Storm enough credit. I think he's absolutely amazing. But I marked out, I popped, I didn't see the spoilers. And I'm happy. But it's kind of crazy that they're shuffling the tag team titles around so much. It seems like the Wolves just got here yesterday, and they're like 3-time TNA tag champs already, So hopefully they have a long title run and some great matches. But overall, I enjoyed it a lot. Tishan, you can go first this time. What are your thoughts on tag team match, and did you think it was match of the night?
I'm gonna have to speed through this and just say, man, I'm waiting for Magnus to go ahead and bring in his partner, which will probably be one of the other two or what like that, to take the titles back, more likely from the Revolution, because I'm pretty sure the Revolution will get them belts back, So
you think they're still going to be hot potato with the titles?
Oh, they have to, considering the Wolves have to take their break, and of course you got Magnus who needs to feud, who needs to cash in them titles, and I can see Magnus partnering up with somebody and going against Revolution, and like you said, Bram or James Storm, or maybe I'll say Bram and Abyss, because I think James Storm needs to be freed up for a heavyweight title future. I think somebody else in the Revolution should take over the tag team spot. But that's all I got.
I don't think Dave knows that Eddie Edwards has a legitimate broken, I think, ankle or leg or whatever.
Yeah, it's already been reported.
Was it during the match, or is that in the future?
It happens in the future.
That breaks my heart. Here's a question before we go to the main event. Is there anything else you want to add, American Alucard?
I kind of feel bad for the Revolution. Like, I'm a big Revolution fan. I like the concept of the whole entire thing. Lost people guided by the mad leader James Storm.
And it works in kayfabe and shoot. Like, doesn't it work in shoot version too? It's a lot of guys that can't. It's a lot of talented wrestlers that really can't hold their own on the mic. So it's like kayfabe wise it makes sense, and shoot wise it makes sense.
But the way they lost this match, with all the scratching, it kind of made the Revolution look weak, and I don't know where they can go from here. Maybe they just maybe there was a way for them to get the belts off James Storm and Abyss, and James Storm could get toward the main event and the world title, and they could probably start doing other tag teams, so that could work. But I kind of hope the Revolution rebounds as far as storyline wise, give them some strength back. Yeah.
I agree with that. Now here's a question. ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to be able to get all your questions just because real life is getting in the way, and I do apologize, but I want to try to get a couple.
Read them.
Rain Lazy 92 asks, does TNA need more knockouts or more tag teams? So if you had a choice, which one would you choose? More tag teams or more knockouts?
Shit.
I go with knockouts right now.
More knockouts? All right.
Oh, shit. I want some knockouts, but I look at the tag team scene in TNA. It's just, it's almost as bad as WWE and Ring of Honor. They have a bad tag team scene too.
But they got a better storyline. That's the only reason why I say, because if we talking about just right now, I say go ahead and add in some knockouts. But later on, we'll start building towards the tag teams such as the Young Bucks and all them coming back, whatever like that. But right now, we need more knockouts because the tag team division in TNA is straight because the storylines hold up.
Yeah, and all that, but you also have the hype of the Hardys and Wolves. You know, if you're watching, I don't know what the future holds because I don't read spoilers, but I think that there's the Hardys and Wolves. I think that that's enough to hold the tag team division at bay, where the knockouts, I think, are in the same exact boat as the tag team as far as talent goes, but what they need to do with the knockouts is bring women in and not super push them. I notice it's like, we have a new woman, and she's going straight to the top. There should be like a process, you know, where they can rebuild it. So if I think they need both, but I'm going to agree with T-Shawn. Well, this is the first time we agreed all day. I think they need more knockouts, but I want to put a little asterisk, not shoot straight to the top. Like, it just seems like there's nothing for the knockouts to do if they're not going for the title. So if a new knockout comes in, it's like, bam, I'm going to go for the championship.
Hey, that's true. I agree with you again. All right.
So, all right, let's internet high five. First time we agreed all show. All right, let's talk main event, and then we'll try to get some live comments. And like I said, I apologize that this is such a short show. I did not expect this many comments, especially with some dumbass like me putting on the wrong date.
And Eric Young, like me.
Eric Young versus Bobby Roode versus Kurt Angle, #1 contenders match. Kurt Angle wins with an angle slam. There was a little bit of shenanigans, but not too much. I think this is one of those matches where, this is just me. Now, some people, you know, everyone loves a different style of wrestling, okay? So, for me, I thought they were too concentrated on telling a story, where some people love that. I'm not saying it's wrong. Where I would love just to see all three of these guys go all out. Like, to me, like, the match told too much of a story, and to me, it's like, yeah, but if you're not going all out, does the title mean something, you know? So, I enjoyed the match. I just don't think it was match of the night, and on paper, if someone said #1 contenders match, Eric Young, Bobby Roode, Kurt Angle, I personally would have thought there'd be more hustle in the match. That's just me. Now, some people say, no, I don't like fast-paced matches. I like telling a story. So I think this is more of a style thing. Do you like this style or that style? But for me, personally, speaking as a fan, I enjoyed the match. Fuck you, WWE fanboys, for giving out spoilers on TNA's fucking social media. But I enjoyed the match either way. I just wish it was more, added a little more hustle. But that might be just my style of wrestling compared to nitpicking the match. We'll go American Alucard first. American Alucard, what did you think of the main event?
The only problem I would have with the main event is the fact that I think it could have gotten more time. It probably should have gotten like 30 minutes or so. I like the way they protected all of the guys. You got EY looking as crazy as ever when he swung the chair and didn't care who he hit. Kurt Angle looking like a straight beast with 10 consecutive German suplexes, and Bobby Roode, you know, just wrestling, you know, doing what he does best, wrestling. So, you know, nobody looked weak here. Everybody looked like, you know, true main eventers. And the way Angle won is the way that any one of them could have won, you know, taking advantage of a situation. So, you know, Kurt Angle versus Lashley. I got my popcorn rating. Let's get to it.
And, of course, after the match, Lashley comes out, has a face-to-face. I just would say I was wrong about some things. Eric Young being a heel, I was wrong about. And,
exactly.
And just I also, one thing I have to give TNA credit for, I don't know if you guys love this or not love it. I love the fact that every now and then they throw in sporting odds, and I love the fact that they have rankings. To me, as a sports fan, it just makes it seem more real, and as a pro wrestling fan, I want the feeling when I'm watching it to live in their world. And they're just small details that work for me.
Have you also noticed that Eric Young really hasn't changed his character? He just changed he changed the fans' perception of him. He's still doing the same things he's done.
Yeah, I love Eric Young, and I thought he was the ultimate face. And his first time he turned heel was a complete failure, but this time, really good. T-Sean, what did you think?
Well, I'm going to quickly say this real quick about there's Easter eggs that's been hidden inside TNA, and it's been found over there in WWE as well. Kudos to TNA for being trendsetters in the reality type of camera angles, because if you look on WWE all this week, you've been noticing they have their little reality camera angles with what's that on the aprons now, on the turnbuckles. You guys will see they have the cameras hidden inside there now. I don't know if you guys ever catch that shot.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the W they're taking that route now. They're doing the reality angles and all that type of shit. So shout out to TNA for that. But all in all, on the matchup, the final match, great match. The way it ended, it set up a perfect view of what's about to happen next week, which is Kurt Angle versus Bobby Roode. I felt like that was the way it's supposed to end, because I'm not really quite sold on the Eric Young and Bobby Roode being finished. I think that it needs a hardcore match. It needs more of a final farewell if they're gonna actually go at it. So I'm glad that the feud is not over with and nobody and Roode's not
before the farewell though, because I think Bobby Roode's winning the feud. I think Eric Young has to get a victory. I think there has to be an Eric Young victory and then a payoff. Because if there's a payoff and there's no Eric Young victory, that's just bad,
He's gotten a victory before, and he won the first match in the series.
And I want to give credit for the announce team. I thought they did a great job of putting over that Kurt Angle and Bobby Lashley never wrestled. I thought, to me, that made the match seem so special. So great job.
And they stepped up their game. I bad-mouthed them a couple of weeks ago on the show, and now I have to say this: Taz and Josh, they're doing. They must have heard me. They must have heard. Shout out to KocoSports, man. They must have heard us or something, because if you guys noticed, in Alucard, I've been talking about this. They must have heard me saying something negative shit about them. I was saying that they suck, and they're picking the game up.
So, yeah, but Taz has been hit or miss. With TNA, Taz was hit or miss. Taz was like 90% shitty and then 10% absolutely fucking hilarious. That was his ratio. But him and Josh are just, I don't know if Josh is bringing out the best of Taz. I don't know if Taz is just like taking it more serious, another route. Taz with Josh is a million times better than Taz with TNA. And I like TNA. I'm not knocking TNA. But Taz, before Josh, seemed like a drunk uncle, where he annoyed you 90% of the time, but 10% of the time had you laughing your ass off. That's what it is. But I think
that is so true. That is so true.
Let's see. You got Kevin in the Internet Infantry chat. Would EC3 be able to keep his name if TNA went out of business? Not sure how ruthless the Carters are. I think so, because MVP gets to keep his name, because I think you can't copyright letters. But in the world of copyright, I've read, because I took a pre-law class, and I'm anti the copyright system. I really am. I'm very anti-copyright. I don't think you can copyright 3 letters, but with that said, the copyright system is basically, I'm rich, I win. And if you don't realize that, you haven't been in a copyright dispute ever. I mean, it's fucking rigged. The game is rigged. But yeah, I could see him still using EC3 if TNA goes out of business. But I don't think there's no need for that talk yet, gentlemen or ladies and gentlemen. I want to leave out the Internet Infantry ladies. I don't think there's no need for that talk as long as they have a television deal. He says, I would put the tag belts on Manic and Sonata, that's Andy Paps, and more tag teams. All right, so he says more tag teams. I'm just going to go grab a couple here. Challenge TV in the UK recently confirmed that TNA Slammiversary and Bound for Glory events will be aired on traditional pay-per-view in June and October. The rest of the pay-per-view events this year will be one-night-only specials. I don't watch the one-night-only specials. I think how are they? Are they worth watching?
Some are good, some are like bad. It's a hit and miss bag. I would like before you buy one, like not read the spoilers, but see like who's on it, and if you like see a match, you like okay that's good or whatever, then buy it. But most of them it's 50-50.
Do you think TNA is wasting money on these extra shows, Explosions, Ono, etc.? How would you fix the issue of the tape shows and specials? Do you think
No, they're not.
online stream service for TNA? I don't know if TNA can pull off its streaming service. The thing is with Explosion and I don't know what Ono is. Am I missing something? ONO? I don't know what that is. I apologize. But Explosion isn't for the American audience.
Oh, one night only.
Oh, one night
only.
only. My bad. Thank you. The one night only I've never watched. Explosion I watch every now and then, depending on the match. But the one night only is basically, for the best of my knowledge, is only there because they signed a 12 pay-per-view contract, and to have the big pay-per-views, they have to supply content for them. So that's more of a contract type situation. Now, Explosion though is something different. Explosion is a mini show, but they have television deals around the world. So Explosion, I think one night only is to keep pay-per-view providers happy, and Explosion actually makes them a little bit of money worldwide. Clover Cold 89 says not really a fan of Magnus, but the storyline with Bram is very interesting. I love Magnus as long as we don't count 2014. As Abyss becoming Kane and Big Show of TNA. Wow, that's a good one. That is a good one. That's the one we'll leave off with. Lennox Wooderson. So we'll start with you, T-Sean. Last question of the night. Any other questions? We'll try to do a Stump the Idiot later or answer it in the comments. I do apologize. Real life is getting away. All right. So T-Sean, you defended Abyss. Do you think Abyss is becoming the Kane and Big Show of TNA? Meaning he's just big, he's there, he has a job, but you know the situation. What are your thoughts?
In a way, you could say that, but he hasn't lost his beast. To me, Big Show, I say Kane lost his beast. It'll take a real juicy, good storyline in order to build Kane back up to being recognized or something. But he's the actual answer to when you say somebody's lost it or what like that, have lost that touch. He's lost it, and I think you went in depth very well. Big Show and Abyss are kind of the same to a standard to where they can play a role to where they need, because Big Show can be believable. If you want a guy to be believable to knock your ass out, Big Show's the guy. He can be, you can believe he'll knock somebody's asses out, or you can believe that he can take somebody apart. So that's why whenever Big Show makes his runs or whatever character, whether he's the dancing goon or he's the angry giant or he's the enforcer, he fulfills those roles very well. Just like Abyss fulfills those roles. He may have never got the dancing role, but he plays well to whatever role that they give him, and they say, well, we need you to step in on this or whatever. They say, we need a big monster heel, Big Show. Can you do it for us? Yes, I can do it. We need somebody to be a threat to John Cena or be a threat to be the one to come take out some wrestler like Roman Reigns. Big Show, can you do it? Big Show can do it. So that's the same role I feel like Abyss plays. Abyss comes in, we need somebody to take out Jeff Hardy. Okay, Abyss, do it. This is the guy to be believable to do it. Who else? You got Bible Ashton. You would have had a Bram or somebody, but you look at somebody else. You got Abyss that can be a viable person to take somebody out. So I gotta say, Kane is exempt from that class. You have to put Big Show and Abyss in the same marquee far as they're believable and they play their roles to the company. They are the most valuable things to each company. Like they play the same role to where if WWE needs Big Show to do something, you got him. If TNA needs something done and to be believable, if they need a monster heel, Abyss can play it. If they need a monster, babyface, big guy, he can play it. So he's very, very valuable, and he's what every company wants. So
all right, American Alucard, your thoughts?
Abyss is nowhere in the same level as Kane. Kane just doesn't care anymore. Like I would say pray for Kane, but I don't believe in that. So I don't know what you can do with Kane. Like I think Kane's last run should have been against Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, like a retirement match. They kind of missed the boat on that.
The only way Kane becomes relevant is Undertaker comes around and plays the brother well. That's the only way. I'm just keeping it real. Anybody would vouch for me with a brain would say, yeah, you're right, because Undertaker comes around.
And the problem with that is Undertaker's getting old as fuck too, so those opportunities are getting very small. I don't think Abyss is at Kane and Big Show's level. I think Kane and Big Show are just big body company men that have a job because, people like them in the back. I don't think Abyss is at that level, but I think he's down that road. I don't think he's at the level of Kane and Big Show, but I think he is down that road. All right, like, comment, subscribe. Check out our blog at KocoSports.net. Gentlemen, tell us what the internet infantry can do for you. And as I apologize about the date messed up. As soon as I can edit, I will. And also, I apologize about the comments. We are not the show to skip comments. If there's a lot of good questions, maybe I'll do a Stump the Idiot in a few hours. All right, T-Sean, tell the internet infantry what they can do for you.
Well, if everybody else that still want to continue the conversation, please. Right now, all thing you have to do is hashtag WrestleTalkMedia on Facebook. That's hashtag WrestleTalkMedia. Add yourself right now to the group, and we'll continue this conversation as well. You can find my page on YouTube, which is Goody Nation Entertainment on YouTube. Just type in Goody Nation ENT on YouTube, and you can go there for more content. But right now, I need you to go WrestleTalkMedia on Facebook. Hashtag. Thank you.
All right. American Alucard, you know the deal.
All right. First, shout out to Andre Corbiel in the comment section, and also you want to.
We'll have to get him on a Fave 5 one day.
Oh yeah, Andre Corbiel, and wrestling that it goes together like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or something like that. Either way, just type in American Alucard on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube, and I'll get back to you. Or you can watch some videos or whatever. So
I can't stand that Andre Corbiel guy. I can't stand him. If I ever see him on social media, I get him. I'm just playing. Shout out to Andre Corbiel.
I thought this was going. I thought this was real for a second. I felt like Dana White between John Jones. Whoa, what did I get myself into?
That's my guy. So in that folks, don't get it twisted. That's my guy. Real cool dude. So but that's pretty much about it. But Coco, take it away.
All right, like, comment, subscribe, and if it's anyone's fault that this is such a short show, it is my fault for trying to jam too much stuff in one day. I will try to hit the comments, and if there's enough of them, we'll try to do a Stump the Idiot. If not, I'll just answer them in the comments. Check out our blog, KocoSports.net, and like, comment, subscribe, as we try to do at least one show a day, if not more. And check out the other guys' stuff. With that, I am over.